Welcome to the demo of the 21-day free fermented food challenge. I'm going to be demoing some carrot pickles for you today. So this is week 2 and we started fermenting, and I like to start with this basic fermented vegetables method because it's the simplest and easiest to start with if you're a beginner fermenter. It's really easy. We're basically just going to be submerging some veggies, spices, and herbs into a saltwater brine. And that saltwater brine is going to essentially pickle them. So they're full of probiotic bacteria. They're really good for you. They taste really good as well. What's nice about making your own pickles is that you can make them as sour as you like, or a little bit sweeter if you like them, or more crunchy if you like. So I'm going to be demonstrating carrot pickles using a simple jar method, and that means I am going to ferment everything in a mason jar. So just really simple. That's the only tool I'm going to use. And I want to do this just to show that you don't need special tools. So if you have an excuse that, hey, I don't have the tools to ferment foods, everyone has a glass jar of some sort in their kitchen. So I'm just going to use that. And I love to start with carrot pickles because as a beginner ferment, because they maintain their crunchiness. So they maintain their crunchiness when you ferment them, and they stay a little bit sweet in the middle. So if you don't like really sour foods, or if you have family members that don't like really sour foods, carrot pickles are a good way to start also because they're not super sour. They can still be a little sweet, and you won't run into the problems of them getting really mushy like you do with cucumber pickles. So that's why I like to start with carrot pickles. You could also do green beans or asparagus. Those are hard veggies that do maintain their crispness as well through the fermentation process. So if it's your first ferment, I suggest those 3. So I'm going to make carrot pickles, dilly carrot pickles basically, because dill is my favorite herb, and I like that a lot. But there's some other recipes that I put on the challenge for you to try, and if there's just a mix of herbs and spices that you know you like in pickles, then you can do that too. So it's kind of endless. So first I'm going to go ahead and make a basic brine, and I have 4 cups here of just my filtered tap water, and I'm going to add to this filtered tap water 2 tablespoons of sea salt. And this is a fine grained sea salt I use all the time. You can use a Himalayan sea salt as well. You can really use any salt or mineral rich salt that doesn't contain additives like iodine or anti-caking agents. Those things will disrupt fermentation, and you don't really want those in your food anyway. So pretty easy. We're just gonna make this brine. Just 2 tablespoons of sea salt. And I'm gonna mix it till dissolved. I grabbed my spoon, so I forgot. So the fine grains dissolve pretty easily when you're using them for a brine. If you have something a little bit coarser, you might have to heat the water up to make it dissolve. That's pretty much it. Like that. Alright, so I'm just going to set that aside, and we'll use that at the end. So I have some carrots here. I have 1 bunch of carrots, and I don't think they will all fit in 1 quart-size jar, but we'll just start them, and we'll just start adding them in until they fill up the jar. So I basically they're nice and firm and fresh, which is what you want in a vegetable. If you really want crispy, crunchy pickles, like I think most of us do, make sure that they're really fresh. They're really crisp and they don't bend. If they get a little dehydrated in your refrigerator, carrot pickles, any of your other vegetables, especially cucumbers, you can soak them in ice water and they'll crisp right back up. It'll take about an hour. So yeah, and I just rinse them with tap water. So I'm just gonna cut the ends off, and I'm gonna make carrot sticks. Carrot sticks because they're just easy just to pick out and eat as a snack. And when you're making pickles, you want to try to make all of your vegetables that you're cutting up into similar sizes so that they all ferment evenly and kind of at the same time. So I don't think these will fit. I think these might be too tall. So I'm just going to cut them in half so they fit better in the jar. So I'm just going to stick them in the jar. Cutting them up, not super exciting. Yeah, just kind of shake them. Fit some more in there, maybe one more. I like to leave room for the dill. And when you pack your veggies into the jar, you don't want to pack them too tight. You want to pack them so they have a little bit of room if you wiggle them around. So if you do them too tight, like if you just stuff them in there, then they can get bruised and become mushy. So especially true for cucumber pickles, which again, mushy is gross. So it's probably good. So I filled them up. There's some space. I just want to leave some space for the dill. But they're just all kind of jumbled in there. They have some space to move around, not get bruised, to really soak up the brine evenly all around them. So, all right. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add all our herbs and spices. So I have some garlic. I have 2 cloves of garlic here, and I'm just gonna roughly chop it. You don't have to finely chop it. The fermentation process really brings out the flavor of the dill, so no need to mince it or anything like that. So just gonna rough chop it and throw it in there. Garlic can be a little overwhelming in ferments, just to let you know. It intensifies in flavor as it ferments in pickles and even sauerkraut. So you might want to start a little bit light on the garlic at first. And then as you find out what you like, you add more garlic to your recipes over time, or less if you thought it was too much. But I think 2 works really well for these carrot pickles. All right, I got some bay leaves, and these are for flavor, and they add a little bit of tannins. So we add tannins to pickles to keep them crispy and crunchy. Hello, Cheryl. Hi, Joanne. It's hard for me to see. I have the camera a little bit far away so you guys can see what I'm doing. Thanks for joining us. So I have some bay leaves here, add tannins and flavor. So you can also add grape leaves, tea leaves, raspberry leaves, oak leaves, any kind of tannic leaf, really add tannins. But I just like to break them up and throw them in there. All right, I got some peppercorns here. I like to add a little bit of pepper flavor. We've got some chili flakes, so I like a little heat. And you can omit them. So the chili flakes get hotter over time. So as they steep in the brine, they'll get spicier and spicier. So you just be a little careful with those. They can get a little bit overwhelming. But instead of chili flakes, you could add chili peppers. Slices of jalapeno is really good. Red pepper, whatever. Just add a little bit of heat is really nice. So whatever you have around or like to use. And then I just like the last thing, make sure I'm missing anything here, is the dill. So I say generous with the dill because it's just so good. Sour flavor, dill flavor. It's like one of my favorite herbs, so I'm pretty generous with it. So right now, dill isn't really available in the stores. I've only been able to find these little guys. So I'm pretty much putting almost a whole pack of that into the jar. Really get that flavor. And what's nice, if you pack the dill on top, it'll help hold down your veggies under the brine. So it's nice to do that. I like to put it on top. Yeah, so basically the jar is full now. And we put the dill on top, just it holds it down under the brine, because it's going to be important that everything stays under the brine during fermentation, just so it doesn't get mold. All right, and we're just going to pour over. And when I pour the brine, I like to make sure the veggies are covered, but that it's has some room at the top. So you want to make sure there is about an inch of space from the top. So like about the shoulder here is where I fill up the brine. So we have all this space here because what happens is when it starts fermenting, there's going to be activity, and it might end up bubbling over onto your counter. So I like to leave some space in case that happens. And you know that happens sometimes anyway. So there's still some brine left in this jar. What you can do is just save this in the refrigerator and use it for another batch of pickles. You can use it when, if any of your ferments are in the fridge and they dehydrate a little bit, meaning like some of the liquid brine has run out on your sauerkraut, or your pickles, you can top it off with some of this basic brine. So don't throw this away. Keep this in the fridge. It'll last a long time. All right, so it's all filled up, and basically all you do is just put on the lid. My hands are wet. And then just leave it loose, like a little bit loose, so that the gas can escape as it bubbles and ferments. Because if you do it on tight, it could potentially explode. So leave it on loose, okay? And then what I do is I set it on a plate on my counter, just out of direct sunlight, and it'll be ready in about 5 days. And I set it on a plate in case it does bubble over, it doesn't get all over your counter and make a mess. So yeah, that's a trick. What was I gonna say? That's basically it. That's the jar method. It's pretty simple. After a few days, I highly suggest that you stir the surface of the ferment or give it a little shake like this. And what that does is it prevents mold from forming on the surface. So it's a nice trick to prevent mold, so every couple days. And then what's gonna happen is it's going to get nice and cloudy, the brine. So right now it's really clear. You can see it. The veggies are all a bright orange color. The dill is a bright green. That all will start in about 24 to 48 hours. The brine is going to turn opaque, kind of cloudy. The vegetables are going to get duller in color, so the green will get duller in color, and so will the carrots. And you'll start seeing little bubbles form, so little air bubbles will start getting stuck, and that's the just the gas released from the lactobacillus bacteria as they're eating the starches and the sugars from the vegetables and making probiotics. So you'll still see that. And what will happen after about 3 or 4 days, they'll smell nice and pickly. So they'll take on a nice sour smell, like pleasant sour smell. So what I'm going to do is this batch of pickles, I'm going to come back on in a few days when all that is happening and just show you what that looks like and what I do. Because at that point, after about 3 or 4 days, I'll take a taste to see where they are in the fermentation process, like gauge kind of how much longer they need. So yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. It's pretty quick. Really, basically, it would have taken me way less time if I wasn't talking, but it just takes as long as chopping up some carrots, throwing in some herbs, and the longest part is just waiting. And that's the hardest part too, is just waiting for it to be ready. So those are carrot pickles. If anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and ask. Just see if there's anything else I wanted to cover that I didn't say. Yeah. That's it. That's how you make carrot pickles. So let me know if you guys have any questions about making pickles. I'll pop back on in a few days to show you what it looks like when it's fermenting. And what I do from there. All right. Thanks for joining me. Have an awesome week, guys. Bye. Oh, I got a question. Hold on. Okay, Marge asks, does the extra brine have to be refrigerated? Yeah, I'd refrigerate it. I stick it in the fridge, mark it, the date you made it. Should last a few weeks like that in the fridge, yeah. What do you recommend for this Arizona girl? What do you mean? Like, is it too hot? I don't know what you mean, Cheryl. What you mean I recommend. I recommend you make carrot pickles. What was the percentage of salt to water? I'm using, so the saltwater brine is about a 2.5% brine, which translates to, I have 4 cups of water and 2 tablespoons of fine sea salt. But if you'd like that in grams, that is about 26 grams of salt to 4 cups of water. Yes. Any other questions? All right, guys, so you can find all the recipes on the week 2, as well as step-by-step picture instructions, and yeah, and I'll save this video as well. Do you ever have to add whey? You don't ever have to add whey, and because the bacteria naturally occur on the skins of the vegetables, so there's no need to add whey. All of the bacteria are there already. Oh, because it's hot in Arizona, yeah. House is pretty cool. You should be okay if the house is cool. Just keep it in like the coolest part of your house. So if it's around 80 degrees or under, you should be okay. I would just, if it's hot, they might be ready sooner, so you're just gonna check them more often. So they might be ready in 4 days instead of 7 days if it's a little bit warmer in your house. Oh, is 4 cups about a liter? 4 cups is 1 quart. 4 cups is, yes, about 1 liter. I think 1 liter is maybe just a smidge more, but yeah, a liter. If it does not get moldy, can we go for a couple of years? Yeah, I mean, if it's stored right, pickles can last for a really long time, even years. So as long as it's not super moldy and it still smells okay, then they're safe. Basically, you just do that smell test. The carrots will keep in the fridge for several months. I've found some in the fridge back in there for I don't know how long, and they taste better over time. So they'll last a really long time as long as they're all submerged under the brine. They'll last for months, maybe even a year or more. Yeah, so they just need to be kept under that brine. Someone asked if I scrub the veggies. I just wash them with my hand. Yeah, you scrub them under water and get all the dirt off. So I do that because they're organic. And yeah, that's all I do. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. So I'll just wait if anyone has any last questions. Great questions. Thank you so much for asking questions and being here. This is my first Facebook Live ever, so just getting out of my comfort zone and doing some new stuff. So I'd like to do more of this, and so I'm gonna hop back on a couple days and just show you again what everything looks like when it's fermenting, and kind of my little taste test I do, smell test. I look at it, I smell it, I taste it. I'll show you guys my process. So you keep the house at 78, 79. Is that too hot? That should be okay. Yeah, it should be okay. That'll be fine. You'll just check them more often, and they might be ready sooner than 5 days. So what I suggest is once they turn a nice cloudy color, like a cloudy brine, and they smell pickly, then go ahead and try and taste one. Yeah. The plant in my window. Oh yeah. That's a money tree. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you soon, and feel free to ask me more questions if you have any more. I will be on, and I'll just type up the answers. All right. See you guys later. Bye.